Peoples. that was real Baptist sounding, wasn't it? So, I got to talk to two fathers, y'all. And I'm trying to increase these conversations with these daddies because Father's Day is coming up. And I got a sensitive spot about Father's Day because I know a whole lot of ninjas that be at the Father's Day picnics and everything and ain't seen their kids in 2 years. That bothers the hell out of me. And that, if you take it personal, that's because you're doing it. I'm not sitting here trying to bash anyone. I'm just saying that's my sensitive spot as far as that goes. I just, over the years, it's just one of those things. And one of mine in particular, he show up fresh to death every year and just wasn't taking care of his kid. So I think that kind of put a sensitive spot somewhere near my heart where I just be like, how all y'all out here kicking it and you don't pay child support, you don't see your kids, you ain't with her because you used to beat the hell out of her, and you disrespect your mama every day. Like, we'll celebrate you when your birthday rolls around, love. And I'm not saying it to say it's fathers. Fathers, you got some dads that have children with women who they feel as though shouldn't be celebrated because they're not adequately taking care of their children. So I get that, but I think it's kind of strange how these days I am conversing with fathers and they tend to be a little more emotional than the women I'm talking to. I need y'all to bring that in a notch. Y'all supposed to be able to step into a room with your chest, your head up, your chest out, and we know you a man, a father, a businessman. We know your worth when you come to the room. You ought not have to speak from an emotional spot to get us to understand what it is that you're going through. I damn near want to roll out a couch and just be like, go ahead and just tell me what's wrong. Because that's where we at these days. And I'm not saying it to say that men have to be those, you fall, get up, don't cry like it didn't hurt. I expect for men to have emotions, but some of the things these emotions is riding high on is a little irritating. Like how are you upset about the way that visitation going and you get your child once every 2 months? Like I literally had to give that to someone. That's not fair. Where your feelings coming from? Because obviously you haven't considered that of the child or the mama. And I mean, is she wore out? Does she need some space? Does she need some time? Like, what are you doing to assist in this area? So, and I'm talking to the dads that want to do better, and they're struggling with doing better. And sometimes the struggle is there because you grew up in a house where you didn't see adequate parenting. It don't come with instructions. So if it don't come with instructions, we're following what we saw. There is no book. I mean, people out here writing self-help books and everything, but you got to keep in mind as you read through the books, because I picked up a couple, it's like you're literally, and maybe it's just me, I found myself like thumbing through the pages to find my problem. Because I'm like, none of this fits any of the stuff I'm going through with my kids. So even though we write self-help books, it doesn't always pertain to the unique situation that somebody may be in. I mean, everybody's parenting is individualized. So in order to write a self-help book, I think that you have to speak to the basics of things. And like I said, some of the stuff that I talk about, it's directly from my testimony. I don't have no book with Q&A and all that other stuff as far as parenting goes, because I don't know what it's like in your house. And there's 3 sides to every story. You could sit here and say, well, dad always interferes with me reprimanding our son. And then dad might jump up and say, when do you reprimand him? Dad might have an issue with how much you coddled the son and dad trying to make a man out of him. Now you run an interference, but you feel as though, well, that's my son and I feel as though I should be there for him. And dad's sitting there like, and that's fine, but you got to let him breathe. So I think that to a certain degree, there are certain parenting books that are being written that are in depth that don't apply to everybody. That's just my opinion. Y'all don't have to agree with it. And I know some of y'all looking at it like, how old is she again? Why is she still talking about parenting? Because I got a whole 7-year-old. And most people look at it like, why would you wait till you were in your 30s? And I'm sitting here like, people don't have kids in their 30s. That's the stupidest conversation I've ever had to have with anybody. I'm just going to throw that out there. I mean, I know women that have had children in their 40s. If that's your time, that's your time. But I also birthed a child at the age of 19 and I wasn't ready. So like, you choose 19 or 35. Let me hear it. So that is so crazy to me. You gonna complain that I'm too young to have a baby and then turn around and say I'm too old to have a baby. Shut the front door. So I was speaking to two dads, and one of the dads had a very strong opinion about the other dad. Yes, the conversation was going down. And so this is what was transpiring. So we're going to say Dad A and Dad B, okay? Dad A is younger than Dad B by about 10 years, okay? Dad A was raised in a house with a mother and father that were married, and Dad B was raised in a house with a stepfather that I believe was married to the mother. Yes. And so what Dad A and Dad B had in common is that both men in the house were alcoholics. Now, where the disconnect comes in at, because the dispute in the conversation was that Dad A is being handed excuses as to why he's not parenting adequately. And I'm going to give y'all what Dad B is saying is the excuse. Dad A don't know nothing about parenting because actual parenting wasn't taking place in his house. So to expect him to actually show up as a parent and to want to parent, in my opinion, was expecting a lot. And you cannot make a man understand that which he ain't never been presented with. That's was my stance on it. And Dad B felt as though those are just excuses. He's grown. He should know right from wrong at this point. My thing was, as we grow up, we learn right from wrong. But as far as us being able to instill in our kids that which was instilled in us, how do you do it when you don't even know what you're lacking? And you're lacking what you need to adequately parent this child. So what made the difference in Dad A and Dad B's home is the mother. Understand what I said. Remember, both of the males were alcoholics. Now, both of these men don't drink, and they don't drink for that very reason. I found that to be phenomenal, that both of them picked up on the fact that if this ninja act like this as liquor enters his system, I don't want it. That's basically both of their stance on this. I thought that was an excellent point to even bring up right now. So now you're left with the mother filling the gap. Now, Dad A, his mother owned her own business. She had 4 children. Everybody's in sports or some type of club. She's trying to run the business, support the sports, and still take care of home. Dad B, the mother had other children in the home, but she poured into her children. She sat and had conversations with her children. She explained morals to her children. She set goals and expectations in her children. Now, the mom in the house for Dad A expected college, but there was no goal setting. There was no identifying what it is the child wanted to proceed with doing. There was none of that. There was just a known expectation that you're going to college. So Dad A goes to college and doesn't finish. Dad B goes to college, finishes, gets a grad degree, finishes, and is career bound. Dad A is still struggling in his career. You see the difference between that. The common thing here is that both of the dads were really not present, even though they were in the home. Things fell on the mother, but both of the mothers parented differently. Both of them were handed something completely different by their mothers, because The foundation for our children starts at home. I don't think it takes instructions for us to understand that. What we tend to minimize is the fact that their guidance actually starts with us. We don't bring that to the forefront that often, because if we did, we would try to set a better example. So I understood what Dad B was saying in terms of a grown man understands this, a grown man understands that. But Dad B was actually tasked with the expectations of what it was he should be doing. His mother expected certain results from him. His mother expected for him to do certain things. And his mother had him surrounded around other men that actually poured into him. Dad B grew up and got a mentor. Dad A has never had a mentor. Dad A runs in a circle that actually looks like him. Dad B is surrounded by married people who are career driven. You see the difference in that? So my stance between the two of them was that I don't think that you can look at a man and say, don't give him excuses for what he's not doing, when half the time, and I'm not even just going to put this on a man, half the time we as parents don't even understand what it is we ain't doing. Yeah, we get to a point where we do what we want to do, but then when you start feeling like you're talking to a brick wall, because Dad A is not parenting this kid at all, whereas Dad B is in overdrive with parenting. But Dad A acts like his father without the alcohol. He doesn't show up for sporting events. He's not there to help with doctor appointments. And he's coming to realize, per the conversation, that he may just have to step up to the plate. I mean, by the end, he said, I got to do better. And I get that. But it's going to take a lot more than I have to do better, because this man has not had another man pouring into him at all. Right down to the fact that even the men in his circle won't tell him when he's wrong. Dad B is actually someone who's receptive because he has a mentor. When you have a mentor acts like a one-off therapist, in my opinion. That mentor is going to question some of the decisions you made. That mentor is going to speak from a place of, when I was your age, I did X, Y, Z. I think that everybody needs a mentor. And I'm not saying a mentor at your age. I think that sometimes we need a little bit of wisdom from someone that's a little bit older than us. And if you don't have that type of person around you, then you need to find someone that you know that you trust enough, that's going to be honest with you and relatable about some of the things that they've been through. Because I'm going to be honest with you, if we're dealing with a whole lot of the Dad A's out here who don't even understand that they're not helping the way that they probably should with their kids, where does that leave our kids? I will see you all next video.
Hi, my name is Layla, and make sure you see my mommy's videos and like and subscribe and hit that notifications and hit that bell.